Hello, everyone. Welcome to part three of What If Deku Had a Clone Quirk. Um, if you like this video, please subscribe and like the video, and check out my other stuff if you can. Um, yeah, let's get straight into the video. The air pressure wasn't enough to knock Shinso out. Deku wins the match, but his arm is completely broken, which he winces in pain and absorbs his clones before anyone could see. Feeling power, more power than he could ever need. Zuku wins. In the recovery room, Deku sits, post healing. He's very tired, but still raring to go. He wobbles in place, still trying to get his head around the reality he's in. All Might bursts through the door, as does Bakugo, asking what happened. Deku forces a smile and then tells them that he'll explain later. They clear out of the room as per Recovery Girl's instructions, and Deku is left with his thoughts. He summons his clones again and asks Recovery Girl if he can have the room for a second. He starts looking at them, feeling the different powers within each of them. I can't use these. They'll go haywire. I can barely deal with one quirk. What the hell is this? He muttered. He hides his clones in a separate room and tells them to sit there for the meantime so his powers don't go deranged mid-match. He then walks out onto the pitch once again, this time facing Todoroki. They face each other down and Deku gets ready, going into his 15% full cow going to 15% full cow and then getting ready. Based on his start in the obstacle course, he's going to start with ice, he thought. The round began and Deku jumped to the left before flicking three air projectiles at Todoroki at 30%. He then chased those air projectiles down towards Todoroki and feinted left, sprinting right, then meeting Todoroki with a mean right kick. Todoroki, thinking quick, blocks the air with his ice and tries to freeze Deku's foot, but he slips him and sends a kick to his left side, which he blocks with no fire. Which he blocks, but with no fire, so it connects and it sends him to the side of the ring. I have too much on my plate right now to not win. People believe in me, Deku says to Todoroki, before bumping one for all up to 20%. His joints ache and grind, but his speed increases enough to overpower Todoroki. He would land hits on both of his sides, and Todoroki would get flustered. Sparks out. Sparks starting to ignite, burning Deku's leg before he pulls away. Oh, so the fire comes out, huh? He says as he grins. Todoroki looks at him. I hate you for making me use this dog's quirk. That dog's? It's your quirk, is it not? Deku says. He shrugs it off before saying, Anyway, this is a fight, not a concert. Let's fight. They rush together, Deku using 30% one for all full cowling, blitzing behind Todoroki, but getting flown out of the ring by his flash fire fist. Deku comes third, Bakugo comes first, and Todoroki comes second. They'd be singing in class about a week later. At midnight, would come into class talking about their hero names. Now, if you remember at the start of the story, Deku chose his Deku got a name for himself, which was Doppel, and I actually really like that, so I'm gonna keep that. The class likes it, and the teacher likes it, and everyone's kind of asking where his clones are, but he can't really say anything at the moment because they're all, off training some freaking powers. Internship. Deku decides to take his internship with the old guy, explaining. Whoa, that felt weird. Deku decides to take the internship with the old guy. So, what's his name? Gran Torino, explaining finally to All Might and Bakugo what happened. They set up a meeting in a free gym to try out some testing. It's like my mind went to a different plane. They told me they were proud of me, and they gave me something. I don't know what it feels. I don't know what it is, but it feels strong. Almost too strong. Whatever it is, it made my clones burst out of me without my control. They both nod. Deku recalls one of his clones leaving the rest. He turns on full cowling and starts to breathe, remembering the power he felt. Suddenly, he starts to float. All Might's mouth drops and Bakugo stares, kind of impressed but not willing to show it. Deku, that's my master's quirk, All Might says. Deku snaps out of it, looking down to see he's a good 10 meters off the ground. He screams, and by instinct deactivates his quirk, making him drop like a stone. They start to theorize about what's happening. When one of his clones was pulled in, he got a new quirk. Maybe his clones all observed a quirk from the previous wielder. He thinks on this for a while, taking his clones and dressing them in different outfits and meeting the old man at the front of his house. He opens the door and is scared, thinking they're going to jump him. Deku apologizes and explains his situation. The old man is perplexed and takes him to an open area where he can finally use his quirk freely. He tells him to pull in all of his clones at a time and see what quirks he has. He does this and starts. First quirk, float. Second quirk, transmission. Third quirk, black whip. Fourth quirk, Fajin. Fifth quirk, danger sense. Sixth quirk, smoke screen. Saying that almost felt natural to him. He tries to pull out each clone in, remembering the overwhelming power. He starts to get a brief flashes of each quirk, but he can only reliably get float and black whip to activate. Even then, float is a bit hit or miss. He trains with Black Whip for a couple of days, finding out he can use Black Whip on both of his clones and his real body at the same time, though it tires him out. So the way I'm gonna set this up is Deku has his clones. They've all got a quirk from the previous wielder, and then him. So if he wants to use one of the wielder's powers, he switches to their body, or he can use their power remotely. But it does hurt his. It does like drain him a little bit. So really, he does have like 6 quirks, but he can only really use like 2 at a time right now, which is Black Whip and One for All, and his clone one really. But yeah. They hop on a train after getting a small handle on Black Whip. He only manages a little bit of a time, two tendrils per clone, and 2 clones at once. They're suddenly attacked by a Nomu. They jump off and start attacking them. Deku runs off to chase a Nomu when his danger sense goes crazy for some reason. He, without thinking, goes down an alley and sees Ida on the floor, about to die. He gets Black Whip and gets another clone running at Stain, with a tendril in each arm on each clone. He ties Stain up with the 2 tendrils and takes a knife out of the other 2 while using 15% full curling. Ida screams at him and says he's paralyzed and to run away. Deku turning to him, shrugs and smiles. Deku uses Black Whip on the floor to sneak up to Stain mid-air, then releases tendrils to capture Stain. Throwing him at a wall, he then uses a clone to kick him into the gut. Stain suddenly licks Deku's clone's leg and he collapses. Huh? Wait, what? He says as his clone suddenly gets paralyzed. Stain laughs. So, you're the one from the sports festival, huh? Nice quirk. I didn't know you had black tendrils too. Deku tells him to quit yapping and runs his fade. Stain runs in and Deku uses float to fly above Stain before using Black Whip to get Stain's leg and throw him at the floor over and over again. He then throws him up before doing a black backflip and smacking him down midair, tying him up as he's knocked out. The pro heroes hear the smash and come there to find Stain captured and Ida KO'd. So let's be real, Stain's gonna get beaten. Like what is he gonna do against 15% One for All? 20% if he has to. Plus clones, so there's 2 of them running in. Plus Black Whip. Nah, he's cooked. Three quirks against 1. Okay. The students are told about what happened over the break, and Deku was not given props for it, which is kind of lame. They're told about the final exams, and they try to get info on it, including Deku. They meet at the final spot, and this time Deku isn't paired with Bakugo, it's Todoroki. Deku and Todoroki versus All Might. Deku and Todoroki don't even speak, Todoroki being moody due to not getting over his stuff during the UA Sports Festival. They get hit with a massive burst of air and see All Might in the middle of the road, staring menacingly. Todoroki is belted into a ball, and Deku barely reacts in time, transferring to another clone to tank it. Deku creates a clone with a flashbang. He hasn't used this in a while. It's kind of like a special move.
Deku then uses Black Whip to capture All Might and fling him up into the air. Deku uses his two clones to get moving to the exit, not wanting to fight All Might. They almost run out, but Deku sees All Might about to hit Todoroki. He uses a clone to block it, and Todoroki sees this, gains respect from Deku. Todoroki will then freeze All Might with a big ass ice geyser, and they sprint to the gate, having mutual respect and both passing. They go to the training camp and are dropped to the side of the mountain, needing to make their own way to the camp. Deku cheats and floats to camp. They say, "Hey, one of your students can fly. That's not fair," and Eraser heads, confused by this. They make it in split time and normal stuff goes down. They train and now Deku can handle using 3 quirks at a time, but never does because it's a lot of strain. They go into the forest and danger sense goes off. Deku tells Mandalay to report something to the whole camp. He goes to Koda and saves him using Black Whip, making Muscular chase him through the forest, but using a clone to lead him away from everyone else while he carries Koda away. So that's like Muscular's just gone. He's running off to God knows where. Suddenly, All for One appears through a portal and they capture Deku's clone and take him to the base. The villains defeated, but those two are captured. All for One tries to take his clone's quirk, which he succeeds at, taking Smokescreen. What a useless quirk. Pitiful. What a waste of One for All. What a waste of time. Camino Ward would begin. They storm the base after Deku gives them clues about its location through his clone being able to sense what direction it was coming from. Deku would switch to his perspective between the clone and his constantly, taking raps on everything. All for One vs All Might starts and Deku sends 2 clones to help, giving a few 100% smashes before vanishing, one staying around. All for One gets sick of his games and decides to use something different. Using his Force Quirk activation, he reverse summons Deku to his clone. Deku looks down, being punctured in the stomach. Having not made a clone in time, he feels his quirks draining from him. So, you know how All for One can force someone to use their quirks? So he forced Deku's quirk to change perspective with Deku. So Deku was punctured by his tendrils. Like that, yeah. So he then gets his quirks drained from him. All Might sees this and severs the tendrils from him, but it was too late. All bar his original quirk remained. Pitiful. You really thought you could make a difference, All for One would say. Deku tries to create his clones, but only one showed up. The sparks of One for All leaving his clone rushed at All for One. Putting all his power and all his quirks into one attack, he punched All for One into nothingness. Shigaraki, seeing this, would start to cry. Okay, now fuck that. So pretty much Deku tried to create his clone, but only one showed up. The sparks of One for All leaving his clone rushed at All for One. All for One using One for All would put his power in his place. Deku would stare on as All for One rushes All Might. They begin to fight, but it doesn't go well. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna end it. So pretty much Deku, he sold. Like he sold. I honestly don't know why I wrote it like that. I thought I was gonna write that for a. I wrote this like a week ago, and I thought I wrote this more kind than I did, but I guess not. Anyway, that was what if Deku had a clone quirk. That was actually kind of good, if I'm being honest with myself. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and if you want to see more, please check out my channel. It really helps out a lot. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for watching.
That is the end, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you ended up making it all the way to the end of the video, please tell me in a comment and I will probably subscribe back to you because I've got like 4 subscribers right now and I'm just trying to grow. If you like the video, please subscribe and like and check out my other stuff if you can. Anyway,